College presents the Millennial Girls Podcast, sponsored by Dezo. Welcome back to another episode of the Millennial Girls Podcast. We have a very, very special guest today. We are super excited to have her, and she's all the way in the UK. So, first of all, Natasha, not you, Natasha. Our guest name is Natasha. Thank you,
Natasha.
Thank you for staying up late with us on your end of things. But so Natasha Marie from Natasha Marie Life Coaching, who is a breakup and reinvention coach, helping women heal from heartbreak and reinvent themselves so they can have a dream relationship without the self-sabotaging, guys. Without it.
All we need. That's literally all we need in our life. So
truly, we're like, you know what? It's February. It's Valentine's Day themed month for us. So
we want to talk about love. We want to talk about relationships, being single in a time that everybody wants to be in a relationship. So that's why we have a guest like her coming on. And she's also a certified NLP practitioner, a hypnotherapist, which I was like, wait, when she told us that, I was like, can you hypnotize us on that episode? And a life coach and one of the top 500 Brains magazine entrepreneurs in the UK. So welcome!
Thanks, ladies. Thank you so much. It's so nice to be on this episode.
I know you're officially a millennial girl. How does it feel?
I feel so good.
Okay, so let's first of all get into things. So obviously Valentine's Day is coming up, and you know, there's a lot of single people who are not wanting to be single on Valentine's Day, or there's a lot of people who break up before Valentine's Day. And they're stuck in that rut. So how do you form that shift mentally in your head after the breakup? And you're like, this is it. We're ready. We're moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, after a couple of tubs of Ben & Jerry's, you just have to kind of pull yourself together and be like, enough is enough, right? So, but do you know what? This is the thing, girls. Like, one thing which I found so funny is that some women come to me and they're literally like, I've literally eaten about 3-4 cartons in a night. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah,
and it's so funny.
I am about that life.
I'm like, it's so funny because I'm like, guess what? You can. You're a grown up. You can eat it all day long if you want, girl. It's fine. But you know, especially coming into like February time, and this is something that comes up so often. You know, that heartbreak. Like, it's so hard. It's so tough when you're single, and you're coming up to Valentine's Day because, I mean, I don't know about you girls, but I used to flipping hate it. I used to be like, oh my God, like, stop kissing, stop loving each other, get a room. Like, it was just so bad. But then it's so funny because once you're on the other side of it and you're with someone, you're just like, oh, this is nice. But it's getting from, I want to hate on everybody who's in a relationship to how do I find the right one, right? So that's essentially what I do. I kind of help people go through and navigate through the breakup, through the heartache, really get understanding what they want, and then just essentially put them in a really good space emotionally, mentally, physically, so they actually start attracting the right partner for themselves. So that is essentially what I do. And leading up to Valentine's Day, I absolutely love it when I see ladies who come to me, because I'm like, guess what? You don't have to find anyone before Valentine's Day. Like, you can literally be a single Pringle and just have like the best time ever, you know, like just embrace the inner goddess.
Totally. And that's one thing that, so Racquel and I were both talking about, you know, around Valentine's Day, and, you know, especially growing up, like when I was 18, 19, 20, 21, and, you know, you're kind of in and out of relationships or getting even into your first relationships. And so like serious relationships. And at that point, it was always kind of tough to navigate around. And at the same time, I feel like from an early age, for us at least, we would like kind of emphasize Valentine's Day and like trying to get together with your girlfriends and just like not feel so bummed out. So like I remember, like I think my Facebook page probably says like 10 years ago today, it'll probably come up this February with one of my close girlfriends. And like even since then, we were like going out to have like a nice Italian dinner, just the two of us. And it was like we would just make jokes about how like her and I were each other's Valentine, you know, like that was our way of like coping with the situation. But deep down inside, at least for us, we were like, we really did want a boyfriend. We just didn't find the right one at that time. And we were really young too. I mean, like, let's relax.
I got stood up on Valentine's Day once.
Oh God.
Oh, no.
So in college that happened, and I just texted my roommate from college, who I'm still really close with, Tori, and I was like, do you remember when this happened? And she just responded saying, oh my God, I totally forgot this happened. Yeah, I don't even know. I mean, for me, growing up and stuff like Valentine's Day, I was either at dance, so it didn't matter, or even in college, it was just like a Galentine's Day.
You're doing like a love shock choreography.
Yeah, me and my friends would always just Galentine's, like we would get cute stuff for each other and chocolates and, you know, and it would be fun. We'd go to dinner and stuff. But yeah, I don't even know why. It was just one of those things. It was like,
how'd you get stood up? So how was it?
Yeah, I don't even think I knew it was Valentine's Day. I just didn't even like remember it was Valentine's Day, and he was working. It was like gonna be a first date or second date too. It was in college.
Oh God.
And he was working. He's like, yeah, let's go out after dinner, get dinner, or later dinner. Again, it was just like the hours were going by, and he just never texted me. And I had already gotten fully ready too. And we had been talking for like a month. We went to the same college, so it wasn't like we didn't see each other. We went out. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
And so I told my roommate. My roommate kept checking in on me because she was in the relationship at the time, and she was, you know, texting me saying, oh, like, how's it going? And I was like, oh, I'm in bed watching like Sex in the City or something. And she's like, no, you're not. And she's
eating
like,
your Ben and Jerry's.
no, I mean, I wasn't. I was just like, this guy's an asshole. Like,
Yeah.
good thing I found out now.
Yeah.
And then I went out and just drank, and it was fine with Tori.
Perfect.
But yeah, no, I mean, that's why I just Valentine's Day is
Like, we have a great solution for that.
yeah, right now. This episode is brought to you by Dezo's Spiked Superfruit Water, which will leave you feeling great the next day. No hangover. It is all natural ingredients, gluten-free vodka, so you're gonna feel like 100% the next day. Which
$100.
$100, 100%. Which, you know, now that I'm turning 28, that hangover hits real hard, but not with Dezo, right, Natasha?
Yeah, and that's what I love about this brand is that not only it's, you know, super amazing, it has natural ingredients, it has antioxidants, electrolytes. So aside from that, it tastes really good, you guys.
The aroma when you crack one open is unlike anything I've ever had before.
It's so good. So you got to try them out. There's a bunch of different flavors. They're coming out with more. Drink Dezo today. But no, yeah. So I guess I'm wondering, at least for like a lot of the ladies that are listening, and gentlemen too, obviously. I mean, guys get stood up all the freaking time.
Yeah,
like it's not just girls. Probably even more, I would think. Actually, guys probably get more stood up than girls. We should look up that statistic. But what would you suggest to do in a situation like that, where you do get stood up, where you are talking to somebody and then they ghost you?
Oh my gosh, that is
Ghosting.
such a good question, because when I was about to start dating my ex, it was so funny. We were supposed to go out for this like date, and we'd met up, and he made me wait for 2.5 hours in a Mexican restaurant.
Racquel's not happy about that.
Oh my God. And I'm the girl that sat there waiting. What does that say about me? I sat there, girl. I sat there. I was like, oh, maybe the buses are running late. Oh, maybe, I don't know. And I literally kept running, like, no lie, girls. This was literally how my first date started with my ex. And it was so funny because 2.5 hours later, I literally was there. About 6 margaritas in, I was having a whale of a time.
Same.
I was gonna say, are you
At that
sober?
point, I would be best friends with the bartenders, everything.
For
like,
sure. I would have made like
What the
besties
hell?
with someone else at the restaurant and been like, bye, I'm having a better night.
It was so funny because by the end of it, like the bartender, he was literally like, this one's on me. I'm like, thank you. Thank you so much.
I
And
mean,
then-
nice.
Yeah, it was like half of those should have been on them at that point.
All of them should have been on them.
Oh my God.
And it's so funny because I know exactly what that feels like to actually, well, semi-be stood up, but also kind of just stay there waiting for something to happen, right? And it's, if you're in that situation where you're about to get stood up, I really do think, do not learn from my mistakes, ladies. Do not wait. Or
Leave.
drink.
Seriously.
Leave. Yeah, get up and go, right? Get up and go. But the funny thing is, like, I would just say, just message your mates, see who's free, and then just go out and just have a good time with like your girls or even your guy mates. Like, just actually go out and have flipping fun rather than like dwelling. Consider it a learning. Like, that is the best learning. If he cannot make it on time, he's not going to make it on time to anything. Like, that is the reality. And then get this, I stayed with him for 3.5 years. The man was never on time.
Clearly.
Oh my gosh.
That's
wait,
amazing.
so how did you, so after that, so then you obviously had a conversation. So how did that follow up going for, like, were you just like, oh, it's okay, you were late, or like, did you give him shit for being late? Like, how'd that go down?
Oh no. And that was me back then, right? That is literally, I was that, like, literally, hello doormat. Like, I literally was that. And it was so, and I'm sure so many people can relate to this. You know, how many times have you maybe stayed a little bit longer than you should have, whether that's in a relationship or whether that's in a, like, you've been dating them for a little bit too long, you know that they're actually not the right one for you, but you're just a bit afraid, right? You're afraid to cut the ties because you don't necessarily want to go into the big wide world on your own, even though you have amazing girlfriends. And even though you have like amazing people in your life, sometimes you're a bit like, maybe it will get better. And it's kind of in that moment you need to think to yourself, it has to kind of be like a reality check where you're like, I don't think it's going to get better. And I have to be strong enough to be honest with myself, you know?
Yeah, totally. And that was a big lesson that I learned when I was dating and all that stuff. And, you know, the first date situation, I feel like, you know, you don't want to go into it putting a ton of pressure. Like, this is my list of things and I got to figure out, like, do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? Do you want to this? Do you want to, like, you don't obviously do that.
I'm like, do you have a brain? Can you hold a conversation?
Right. Like, and so, I mean, of course you do want to have those real talks and everything through time, but I mean, don't wait too long to have those conversations because they have to be had. But yeah, going and dating and, you know, that's just kind of like your way of setting the ground for what's to come. So whether it's being on time or not, whether, you know, the person is picking you up from the date or not, or if they're meeting you there, if they're paying or not, which I know I'm not going to talk about what's right and what's wrong in that situation. But I mean, these are obviously all things that you have to look at and, you know, how they treat people wherever you go. If you're at a restaurant or a bar, you know, if they're rude and to the server or to the, like, I mean, I don't want to be with a person that's like that, you know? Not. So yeah, there's a lot of things I think that, you know, without putting too much pressure and too many expectations going into the date, definitely have your eyes wide open, right?
Oh yeah.
So in your case, I mean, I would obviously be sitting there, let's say for like 20 minutes, at the 20-minute mark, you're gonna, you know, call.
I have to ask, were you at a table or were you at the bar?
I was at the bar. Thank God.
Oh, thank God.
Racquel's like, okay, good. Yeah, because at that point, it's like, you know, you're going to call them and say, and then if not, you're just either going to leave or you're going to message them or leave them a voicemail like, hey, like, I was here. I'm leaving now, you know? I mean, even that, you're already doing them respect when they disrespected you in the first place. So, I mean, that's not cool. Yeah.
I can't.
That's not cool.
That's not okay.
So
it was
at all.
So funny. It was
wait,
like,
okay, so
let's
let's call those red flags, shall we?
Yeah, no, totally.
How do you handle people who come and you know, obviously I'm sure they're spilling the beans to you and there's severe red flags up in this conversation. Do you kind of point them out or are you trying to have them kind of figure them out on your own or point them in the right direction? What happens in that case?
So I'm kind of like the nice fairy godmother, as it were. So I'm going to kind of give you your glass slippers and tell you to walk, but I'm also going to say, you know, maybe steer yourself in this direction from like to Prince Charming because you can't see them because you're in it. And as much as we would love, you know, I didn't see those red flags. I didn't see all the other red flags until I was out of it. And I think we put this pressure on ourselves to be like, oh my God, like it's a red flag. But unless you're actually geared up to be thinking, oh, is this a red flag or not? You're just in that like roller coaster or that hamster wheel of, you know, you just take it as it is. So I politely, in a really loving way, and that is essentially what it is. It's saying, have you considered that maybe this isn't a trait that you're looking for in a partner? And that's not to discourage you to like be with them. It's to be like, maybe you just need to have a conversation and be really honest and say, look, your timekeeping is shocking. It's like absolute shocking. You need to get either a watch, an alarm, or like, I don't know, a doorbell, something that's going to like wake you the hell up because you're clearly not getting it. And it's coming from a place of having that confidence inside of you to be like, no, I do deserve better. Like we all deserve better. If we're being in that position, we're putting ourselves in that position where we're like, oh, you know, maybe it's okay. It's not okay. If you say maybe it's okay, you need to question yourself.
Yeah, that's well, yeah, now you're making me question myself. I'm like thinking and I'm like, oh, well, I have said that to myself quite sometimes. Yeah, at that moment when you find out that, you know, why you got broken up with, or maybe you got cheated on, and then you go into that like self-sabotage moment of like eating those pints of ice cream, and
sometimes you just need ice cream.
You're miserable, and it could be longer than just, you know, a few weeks. It can go into months. It could go to the year, especially, you know, for more heavier, serious relationships. So at that point, what do you suggest to do when you get into that moment of self-sabotage, where it's just every day you're just miserable?
Ugh.
Do you know what? The first thing I would definitely say is just like, you have to ride the wave when you're in it. Like if you feel really like rubbish and really crappy, just ride it for the day. Like you have to sometimes say to yourself, I need a duvet day. And I just need to like sit on the couch, have my ice cream, and just be a bit sad for today. And the key word for that is today, not tomorrow, not the day after, not the week after, because once you start running that pattern and you're in that pity party for one, you need to pop those balloons, because if you don't, you're going to end up staying in there. And like you said, you know, what could be a month, 2 months, if not a year. Like I've seen people have come to me and they've been like, we broke up like 2 years ago and I'm still not able to get through this. And that's like so heartbreaking and some of these relationships weren't even like years. They were like, you know, a couple of months. And it's like that affected you so much. Like we need to not focus on what's happened. We need to be like, right, what do we need to get you to do to move forward now? Like that is so much more empowering to actively say, okay, I know I've had a bit of a rough time, but actually today is a day I'm actually going to do something for me. And it could just be as simple as going and washing your hair, or going and putting on your makeup, or, you know, ordering something nice off ASOS. I don't even know if you guys have ASOS, but ordering something.
We do. We do. Love it.
Just order something that makes you feel good about yourself. Shift that energy, because once you shift your mindset, you shift your energy. Once you shift your energy, you shift your mindset. And it's like a really nice little snowball effect, because the more you start doing for yourself, even when you don't want to, you're going to like feel so much better in yourself. I was actually in a clubhouse room like earlier today. I was saying to them, you know, one of the things I do now is if I say, oh, I don't really want to, that's an instant, you got to go do it. So if I say, oh, I don't really want to like work out, you got to get up, time to get up, Tash, off you go. So literally I have to haul my backside up and take myself and do a workout. And that's what I say to like so many of my ladies now. I'm like, if you say you don't want to do it, guess what? Get on the app and start doing it.
What are your suggestions for anybody who I'm sure in the month of February will be up on those dating apps and swiping through and all this stuff, which I should post that. So when I went back home to San Diego, one of my girlfriends, she's single, and I went through her dating app and I started I recorded myself. I started judging everything, and I'm like, okay, we like this guy. No, we don't like that guy. Like I was just picking them for her. And sometimes I feel like you should maybe ask your friends to do that for you, because then you won't see with foggy glasses on or whatever. Yeah. So
beer goggles.
But anyways, what would you suggest to kind of look out for when you're swiping on those apps and stuff? Like what are some of good signs to look for, pictures, and what are the red flags? Like when we want to swipe left immediately.
So
I always swipe left. It's bad.
So we're not going to have Racquel go through your dating app, but I will.
That is so funny, because you know, I think around this time, I think you just have to be really on it in terms of you know, people are going to either be looking for maybe a hookup for Valentine's, and just be okay with, is that what you're looking for too? It's okay to just be like, do you know what? I don't actually want to be on my own on Valentine's Day. I'm looking to go on a date. Let's just have some company. And I think there's a fine line between let's have a bit of company and let's just see what happens, versus, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just used me for Valentine's Day. Because in your heart of hearts, you kind of know what's going on. You kind of know how you feel in yourself. So it's about setting that attention and just being like, oh, it's, you know, I'm cool to just go on a date. It's fine. And just kind of remove that expectation, you know, of this is going to be the man I marry, you know, because we all kind of do that, right? Sometimes we're like, maybe.
Oh yeah. Since I was 18, I was so hardcore. everybody that I was like, I'm going to be in a relationship with, like, it has to be like
your husband.
Yeah. Like I know it was a lot of pressure, and that was definitely an issue in my relationships too, because it was a lot of pressure for them. Poor guys. Anyways. Poor guys. but it's okay because it worked out in the end. But yeah, I remember, I'm remembering a date that I went on that like, I can't even call it, I really can't call it a date. It was more like just like, a
meeting.
Yeah, like I met a guy and then that was the end of it. Kind of like, because it was very weird. I remember, so I'm scared. We went to some place here and it was kind of like a wine bar or whatever. And I was just, I would go into it with no expectations. And I feel like that's something that everybody should do. I mean, of course, look at their dating profiles, or even if you meet them, get to know them a little bit if you meet them in person. But like, really kind of like screen that first before going into it, right? But then
you have to be the FBI agent.
Totally.
If you need one, I can do it for you.
Yeah, she'll be the FBI agent, and I'll go through your dating profile.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we show up, whatever, we meet, or I don't remember if he had picked me up or something, and it was like just very casual. We hang out, and like I thought he was cool because he was like a drummer or something. I don't know.
Oh boy.
So I was like, oh, that's cool. Never been with a guy that drummed, whatever. So then we like start talking, blah blah, and then something had happened where like, I don't know if he like sat on a bench that had like napkins or like paper towel, something like an issue happened. And so then he like stood up and he had like all the like, it kind of looked like toilet paper on his butt, like his pants. But I don't know what had happened that he like totally shifted, and he got so embarrassed about it. Like, so embarrassed, and he was just like, oh, like he was just like, oh, like where is it? Like, and I was like laughing, like I was literally laughing out loud because I thought it was funny. Like I was like, it's not a big deal.
You're like, it happens.
I was like, I mean, I get that it's embarrassing because we just met each other, but it's okay. Like it's not a big deal. And he was just like kind of like freaking out about it. And I think he like, I don't even know if he had hit me up after because I think he was just so embarrassed.
That's so interesting.
But I was like, but like even sorry, I just had to tell that story because I was like, I was just so shocked, I guess, by like his insecurity maybe.
People are just really strange and insecure, and that's just like what it is.
And it's like, it wasn't a big deal. But I guess the lesson I want to, give from that story is like, just don't go into it with expectations. Because like, even after that happened, like if I were to see him at a coffee shop or something, like I don't even remember what he looks like, but like if I were to, I'd just be like, first of all, I probably wouldn't say hi, but I'm just saying like, I wouldn't have like dodged him or been like weird about it or something, just because he had this minor accident. Like, it's okay.
I mean, he's not the one who literally peed in his pants, so like, why is he acting like that? Unless he did.
It was just,
awkward.
No, he didn't. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe he did.
I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, the expectation thing, I think, and that's been a hard lesson for me to learn in general too. Like even being in the relationship now is like, you really just have to like bring the expectations down, because then that just, I think, helps you not get disappointed so easily,
Yeah, definitely. And it's so funny you say that, because I think even if you are in a relationship, like you say, we're still going to have those expectations of what we essentially want for a relationship, but it's just being able to manage and master your own emotion, because we can just blow things out of proportion. Like I will tell you a really funny story. So last Valentine's Day, I met my partner on Tinder. And this was like 5 years ago. And for our first Valentine's Day, flowers, chocolates, wine. The year after, I'm taking you to this gorgeous hotel room, gorgeous place, really nice. And then a couple of years, we do some nice bits. Last year, let me tell you what happened. I was like, okay, coming home from work. So for any of you who don't know, I'm a forensic scientist by day, coach by night. So coming home from work, So yeah,
wait,
so if you need
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We have to stop for a second.
A forensic scientist.
Every time that I do my personality test, they always tell me that I should do that.
Really?
So can you, yes. Wait,
isn't a forensic scientist like Bones?
Yeah. So like CSI,
I love that show.
like, yeah. So yeah, so like CSI, and then like, NCIS and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, dead things, live things.
Wait, and like,
things.
does it?
This is a whole nother episode.
Have you?
So many questions.
Right? We have to ask. Like, does it? Because I need to know, because I've never met someone that does it. Do you? Did you always like feel totally okay with dealing with that, or were you cringe at first and then you got comfortable?
I was always okay because I watched an episode of CSI when I was like 13 and just like wanted to do it ever since.
Wow.
And then, then like did the job, got the job, doing the job still. And then, so I see all kinds. You have to have a strong stomach though. Strong stomach.
Wait, tell us like some stuff you see. We need to know.
So like we have, like I've had like dead things in front of me. I've had like foots, hands, stomachs,
heads.
Like, I don't know why this is cool to me though.
Head in a crash helmet. I've had, like loads, about 12,000 body parts from like air crashes. I've even had a penis. I've even examined a penis. I know, right, ladies?
Okay. That's not going to happen on your Valentine's Day, I promise, people. But okay, sorry. We just had to get like a little bit of that.
Yeah, I love that. I love all those shows.
I'm so fascinated, and I wish I could shadow you for one day because I don't know why that's really cool to me. Okay.
Girl, come on over. You're so welcome.
Hopping on the plane now. Just kidding.
I swear, the minute that I can fly there, I will let you know. Field trip. Racquel's. Yeah, I don't know. We'll cover her eyes or something. Okay, sorry. So we interrupted, but that was very fascinating. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Okay, so you were saying when you did the last Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
last year.
It's not going to be as exciting as like cut up penises. However, like I got home and I was like, okay. So and bless him, he'd run me a bath and there were flowers. And I was like, is this it?
This is it?
Uh-oh.
What? Let me tell you, like the gremlin of gremlins came out.
Oh, yeah.
And like, he was probably like, who the sweet baby Jesus is this girl? Because I actually don't know who she is. I felt so embarrassed after, but it was because it was that expectation of, we even said we're not going to do anything big. And this is the problem. As women, and I'm massively overgeneralizing here, as women, when we say it's okay, we don't mean it's okay. And I've had to learn, and this is what I now teach people, is to say, it's not okay. Let's do flowers and chocolates this year. Because you then manage your expectations. You're like, no, actually, let's do gifts because I actually want to receive shit. Like, if I'm not allowed to swear, I apologize. But, let me.
You are. It's fine.
That's the kind of thing. Like, let's just be honest, because if we're not honest, you're just going to be the gremlin and you're just going to look a fool.
Can we like insert gremlin here?
Wait, I'm laughing because my sister always calls me a gremlin.
Oh gosh. Are you that evil?
No. She just always calls me
Your
a gremlin.
sister's like, yes.
She's like, yes, she is. She just always calls me a gremlin.
Oh my God. No, it's true. That is such a good point. I'm so glad that you brought that up. And like, just being honest with yourself and as a woman and, the expectation thing. And sometimes you want those flowers every,
Chocolate,
every occasion or whatever. And when you don't get them, you get deeply
Pissy.
upset inside and then you become resentful and all this stuff, which I'm sure we can all relate. We become like that. And the guys just don't get a clue and that's just how they are.
Yeah, so they just don't get the clue, guys.
So like we can't, you cannot do like your little signals and signs. Like, no, you need to just say it.
If you don't say it, it's not happening.
Yeah. So say it.
And like, we literally have a rule now in our relationship where like, if you say it's okay, that means it's actually okay. And I think it's just like, okay, I'm sorry.
We're like, wow, that's what a revelation.
What a concept. What do you know?
Right? Like, oh my gosh, this is brand new information. So it's like, it's so funny because and I know that sounds really trivial, but I mean, if you actually went out there and actually asked people like, how many of you women, raise your hands, if you've ever done this? And the reality is we've probably all done it. We've probably all done the whole, oh no, it's okay. You don't have to pick up the check. You have to pick up the check.
I think just with age, maturity, I mean,
Yeah.
you always hope, not everybody gets to that point, but you hope that, through that time that passes that you kind of figure that out and learn, from your past mistakes, obviously. I mean, even I, not too long ago got into a nasty fight because I was demanding, you know, the time and the attention, and I turned into the gremlin, and then I apologized the next day for it because I honestly felt very bad about how I kind of turned in that conversation. Well, I mean, discussion, fight, whatever you want to call it. It wasn't very conversational. But at that point, yeah, when you start to attack and do that kind of thing, I mean, it's not fair. And I think you can avoid that if you are honest, just like you said. Yeah. Just
Absolutely.
ask for it. Sometimes I know, like, growing up even, it's just like, even like with parents or anything, I mean, everybody's expectations from each other and your family, your siblings, whatever. I mean, even in those scenarios, you're like, you know, sometimes nobody's just direct to the point. Everyone's kind of beating around the bush, and then you're lost. And once you if you literally just ask for it, that's it.
Yeah.
It was as
Or
simple
have a
as
conversation
that.
about
But
it.
it's as simple as that sometimes. Like, it doesn't have to turn into this, like, blown up situation.
Communication is key.
I know, but it's not that easy.
It's not.
It's
Not
so
always
funny.
easy.
But it's
It's
key.
like
The truth is not always.
Kid, that's it. You know, like when you're a kid, you kind of get told by your parents, oh, you shouldn't ask for that. You've asked for too much. You know, how many times have you gone like into you know, if you've gone to the supermarket and you're like, oh, I really want that chocolate bar, or I really want the new toy. And yes, you've probably had about 6 toys that week, but you've just been told by like your parents constantly, like, oh, you're not allowed that. You know, you shouldn't ask for any more. So we kind of run that pattern as we go into relationships, saying like, oh, actually, we shouldn't ask for more because we've essentially been told for our whole childhood, you're not allowed any more. Like, that's it. You know, I appreciate there are some kids who don't have that, but for most parents who want to instill and install in, you know, that sense of discipline, like you can't have it all. It's kind of to teach you the value of whatever you have, but actually sometimes it has the opposite effect. And it's kind of like, you go into relationships and you're like, oh no, I don't want to say what I want in case it's too much.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not easy to be totally truthful because even, I mean, I have to get into this, but even when in regards to sex in a relationship, I know a lot of people might be shy or, you know, don't want to ask or tell the other person what they do and don't like, and then that can become a problem down the line, or maybe it'll stop your, you know, whatever you had going altogether. And so sometimes, as weird and awkward as that conversation can be, you have to have it, because at the end of the day, if that person and you want to be with each other and you're actually trying something, if you don't say that, you're just basically shooting the relationship down the drain. Like, you're putting it down the drain. When if you just communicate that, and as weird and awkward as that can be, I'm sure the other person at the end of the day is going to appreciate you for saying that, because then you're ultimately both going to be happy about it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if they don't, then that's not the person for you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I can agree more. It's so, because it's so funny. So
Raquel,
I had...
sorry, I'm like, there's like, oh, my kink, my fetish, whatever. And then you're like, well, yeah, not sure if we like that one. Peace.
Bye.
But anyways, sorry, continue.
It's fine. I don't even know what I was about to say. Completely lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry. We've brought up feet many times on the podcast for stuff. I don't think either of us are into that, but it's
I just
funny.
get all the DMs about it.
I don't know why it always gets brought up on the podcast.
Guys,
like, even guests have brought it up too, and we're like,
yeah, it's a thing. I said we need to do an episode about all the weird DMs I get. Truly, over the years too. Because I've gotten like, will you kick me? I'll give you money for my...
Will you kick me?
Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not meeting up with you, so that's awkward. And then...
You're like, yes, I will.
And then like the feet picture thing.
Oh my God, that's so weird.
I mean, I guess if you do it and need the money, you do you, boo-boo, but...
I mean, I guess they felt comfortable enough to send you the message, but I doubt they would say that to your face in person.
I just got 2 emails from the same person about being... I can't, I just blocked this email. About being their sugar baby.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend got the same one, and she posted on her story on her
Sweet.
private friends, and I was like, they just messaged me too.
Sweet. You should just like literally say yes and like see what happens.
See, that's
you don't
what
have to
my
meet
friend
them.
said for me to do, because I had the same thing. Someone emailed me saying, oh, I want you to be my sugar baby. And I was a bit like, what does that even mean? Like, seriously, what does that
entail?
What does that mean? How much is it an hour? But I was like, oh my God, like, and it was so funny because I was like, you do know what I'm trying to do. Have you looked at my profile? Like, did you see anything? Like, did you gather any information before you sent that message?
Right.
So, yeah, but so funny.
Oh my goodness.
Guys, I don't want to send feet pics.
Yeah. But of course, I think the last thing we'd want to just touch on is if there's any advice you'd like to give or any last words, going into February, Valentine's Day, and even past that. I mean,
over the hump.
I think, with COVID and everything and, people still being on lockdown and stuff in so many different countries and really not being able to have the face-to-face dating experience, what would some last tips that you'd be able to give some of the people that are listening?
I would just say definitely go into it with like excitement. Just have fun with it, because the reality is it's just not the same. And I think everyone knows that, it's for us here in the UK, we can't go out and go on a date. So you have to make the most of it. So it might have to be you have a Zoom date. And yes, you do get like dressed up. And this time you don't just dress up your top half. You actually put like the bottom
Pants
half
on.
as well. You're not just in your pajamas, from waist down. So, like it's about really making a bad situation a good situation and seeing it as this is going to add memories to the memory box rather than it being like, oh woe's me, so it's kind of like this just adds to the memory box. That's how I think of it. And it's just going to be another story you get to tell in a couple of years or in a couple of months. You'll be like, oh my gosh, yeah, do you remember when we ...
Yeah, and
so
you never know. You never know. Like, do you have any success stories, or do you have anybody that said like completely like poo-pooed the whole going on the online Zoom date and then they end up meeting and they like each other?
Prior to COVID, before like last March, like I was saying to my ladies, get on Zoom dates, because actually it's a really quick way to kind of filter through kind of like the trashy kind of guys, because the ones who are actually going to be around are going to take the time to sit down and have a chat with you and actively get to know you, even more so now, because it's not just like a one night stand, because you can't physically have a one night stand with them. So you actually kind of have, it's kind of like that space where you can just really get to know somebody. And like, so I've had so many women who've done the online dating, have done the Zoom dating, and they've actually not only just found partners. Like I've got ladies who are now having IVF to have babies, and they've I've had a couple of invites to weddings in like 2 years' time. Like that is incredible. Yeah. Like for me, that's like a huge win, that you've not only just found somebody, you've actually found the one you want to spend the rest of your life with. So the one.
The one. Awesome. Well, we're super happy to have had you on this episode. That was loads of fun that was so interesting, because we just from body parts to all sorts of stuff.
The forensic scientist really threw me for a loop. I'm not gonna lie. I've been thinking like so many things since you said that.
Of course. No, but of course we love like all the stories, everything that you've told us, and even like sharing the positive experiences and the outcomes that people have had, because I have friends again that feel very hesitant to do the virtual date before meeting in person. They feel very, very hesitant to do that. And I'm like, you gotta just try. You gotta just try it once. Same as trying food for the first time or traveling to whatever. You gotta just get out of your comfort zone, I think. And not that I ever did that. I'm gonna say I never did a FaceTime or a Zoom date ever either. But you gotta be open to it, because you never know. And like you said, that like taking that time, like if the person is gonna take the time to do that, they care. Like, that's such a good point. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah. And also for any of your listeners who are listening today, if they say that they have listened to this episode and they've come through you, I would be happy to give them a free half-an-hour coaching session.
Yay!
Amazing. Yeah. We love that. And we are actually, we haven't officially announced it yet, but we're doing a giveaway, everyone. So that is such an amazing bonus to add to the giveaway, because what better way to start off February, right?
Right, totally.
With all the lovey-dovey feels. And even, of course, with your coaching sessions, I'm sure too, it's just even confidence. It doesn't have to be just, trying to find your person if you're solo. It's about self-love, I think. Where can we find you if we want to book a session or social media?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Natasha_Marie_coaching, or you can head over to my website, which is NatashaMarieLifeCoaching.com.
Amazing.
Yay, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy. I feel like you need to come on like 3 times a month. There's 4 weeks out of the month, but like 3 times a month, please.
We can talk body parts next time. Real body parts.
Yeah, I have so many questions about being a forensic scientist. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, like, subscribe on YouTube, ring the bell so you get the notifications, and leave that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media, personals as well, at Racquel Goldy.
At Natasha Salehi.
And as we say here, everyone, peace, love, and unicorns.
Peace,
Bye,
love, and
guys.
unicorns.
We'll see you next time.